Welcome to the meeting room at Global TV Talk Show, a broadcast service of globalbusinessnews.net.
Now, here's your host, Ed Cohen.
This is Ed Cohen in San Diego, broadcast host of Global TV Talk Show, a news service of globalbusinessnews.net. Please check it out. The site's been updated. Will continuously be updated with news and information about our different broadcasts and about industry articles and new products. Today's special guest is Alan Koski. We've known each other a lifetime in the industry, connected with mobile talent. Alan is an expert on insurance, in other words, risk mitigation. He's now in a new enterprise, and I'm going to let him talk about it, but it's all about insuring nomads. So let's say hi, Alan. Welcome.
Hi, greetings from Wilmington, Delaware, Ed. Beautiful day here, and thanks for the introduction. You're correct. I've been lucky enough to get to 70 countries and work with groups around the world, and the new enterprise is really supporting the nomad, maybe for lack of a better word, even a global gig worker of the future, in the sense that pre-COVID, most people work for companies. We're seeing a lot of folks are saying to themselves, I would like to be a consultant, work on my own terms, in my own location around the world. And we're seeing a lot of folks leaving high, expensive, high tax areas for places like Costa Rica, Croatia, and they say, I can work in this Zoom environment somewhere else.
As a matter of fact, we have a show coming up on December 2, starting at 6:30 California time in the morning, and it's coming from Athens. And the Greek government is just announced recently a tax scheme that is designed to attract people who want to live and work from Greece. And that's a hot thing. So I'm talking with an Athens-based business lady who owns a company, a family business, which is called Corporate Relocations Greece. All right. The company's been around a long time, and this is second generation ownership. So, Alan, tell us about Insured Nomads. How is it different from other companies?
Yeah, that's a great question. And using the example of Greece, let's say, for instance, Ed, you had decided, I want to work out of Greece as opposed to out of San Diego. And you had a great house there, great lifestyle, but you still wanted to work. Frankly, you go overseas and you might say to yourself, I don't want to be under the Greek National Health Plan. I'd like to have a healthcare plan that covers me in Greece and all the countries I visit. I also want to make sure I have coverage when I come home. So you would come to Insured Nomads, whether you're traveling on business or you're going for a year and you want to protect yourself and your family for really three things. In the past, most programs just protected you for your health. You know, if I got sick, do direct payment to the hospital, direct me to a good hospital. Where we go a bit further is we've seen that there's a greater need for security, which means evacuation if need be for either medical, security, or natural disaster. Maybe even having something as basic as a panic button on your iPhone. And then last but not least, something that we feel is really important to the global traveler, the insured nomad, is having some sort of comfort. So let's say you're traveling and you're stuck in an airport for more than a few hours. We'll help get you in a club lounge. We'll make sure that when you're a client of ours, you're able to get some cyber protection, so you have a secure VPN. Actually, folks like the fact that if you're in Greece, you might be worried about how good your Wi-Fi is where you are. We'll work with make sure that people have an adjunct that gets them good Wi-Fi. So really, it's looking at people more holistically and realizing that, you know, the healthcare issues are extremely important, but also they want to make sure they're secure. And as you know, with COVID, a lot of people found themselves stranded. They found themselves without these protections. And there was a lot of folks working very hard to try to get around all the restrictions.
So you've got a base product is insurance protection. People on travel. That's number one. But you've gone the extra mile here, more than a mile, taking care of the associated needs and wants of the customer. And I have to tell you, that is cutting edge. That is a terrific marketing ploy.
Yeah, we think, it's interesting. I've traveled to so many countries as you have, and our CEO for Insured Nomads is actually residing in Rio right now. He's an American there. There's a lot of lessons we learned ourselves the hard way. So you kind of bring it back and you say, these are the things that would have made our experience better. I mean, you think about post-COVID, and we can only surmise when that's going to be. People are going to want to have a lot more security and protection before they go travel. Families are going to want to have their loved ones protected better. We do expect things to pick up again, but you're right. I think we're going to have to go the extra mile because I think a lot of people are very concerned about the future of global mobility. And we also expect a second thing to happen. More people are going to say, I would like to live this Zoom existence on my time and my terms. So as opposed to going back to an employer, they could become a consultant. And I even think the employer community is happy with this. I've talked to some benefit managers and risk managers, HR managers, and they're, we're not excited about bringing on a lot of extra headcount, but we still have things we need to do globally. And we need to find those global experts, and we want to protect them, and we want to direct them to Insured Nomads and have a program that gives them a little more peace of mind. I'm sure you've traveled to some locations you felt uncomfortable and you wish you had the ability to really have that type of support that you need.
I love these collateral benefits that you've mentioned. The idea of a hotspot, Wi-Fi, MiFi hotspot, and this club lounge access. It's great. So how does it work? Let's say I'm in Athens, okay, and I'm not a resident yet, and you got to have your own insurance because you can't use their national health plan.
Sure.
So that could be pretty expensive then, couldn't it?
Yeah, it's interesting. Well, there's two workflows. First off, the great thing is people can buy our products online using their own credit card. It's very simple. It's a unique rating engine that they can put in their details and pick the different level of benefits they want. There are folks that obviously can pick a very inexpensive program. Other folks who like to have as much covered as possible. But I think the two workflows, Ed, that is so important is if you're going to Athens for 2 or 3 weeks, you want to buy a travel medical policy that has the correct bells and whistles on it, or you just buy a couple weeks of coverage. You buy it, you get a temporary ID card. It's somebody that when they're traveling, it gets them into the hospitals, basically pays for any type of medical issues while you're traveling, and assists you in getting home. The more complex issue is, let's say you're going to a villa on a beautiful island in Greece, and you're going to go there for a year, and you're bringing your family with you. Certainly your home country coverage isn't going to support you. The Greek national plan is not going to probably cover you to the level that you want. So you can go online, take a plan design that could either be very robust or maybe even more catastrophic in nature that covers really high claims. So you can pick your own price point, you can pick your own plan design, but beyond the plans that you get, you still want to get the service, you want to get directed to a good provider. And by the way, it's not just medical. I mean, there's other products and programs you can get, but most people focus on the medical. But I'm really excited about making sure they have the security and the comfort tied in, as we've discussed.
So how does so let's say I'm in Santorini and in a villa, and I catch a cold or something. Okay, and so I have my supply of Zicam. I just stick it up my nose. But a couple of days later, it gets worse, and I said, "Oh no, maybe I've got the plague or something." So I can't go to the local doctor and say, "Oh well, I'm part of Insured Nomads," and he says, "What?" or she says, "What?" And how does it work from there then?
Well,
How
here's the
do
good.
they feel comfortable giving me medicine?
Yeah, this is the good news. Is a couple things. You could go to the local doctor and reach back to us and say, "Here's what the local doctor is telling me I should be taking. Does this make sense to you?" And our medical director can help you with that. Or you could go to us proactively and say, "You know what? I'm not quite sure about that local provider. What would you suggest?" And then you could go visit. And we give you a range of alternatives of providers to go to. What I love is it's really in your hands. You could be proactive, reach out to us first, say, here's my issues, what's your suggestion? Or you could say, listen, I'm going to go to this local provider. I feel comfortable with them. Great news is we provide you with a payment card, or we pay them directly, so you don't have to worry about paying out of pocket. But there are times, and I think this is one of the most important things in the future is, obviously direct payment has been an important part of our industry, but having a payment card with you where you don't even have to reach back and call an insurer and say, hey, I'm going in, pay this, where you can just take out a debit card, or you can take an Apple Pay and you can, pay right there in real time. It's about making it easy. But at the end of the day, I think it's really important to your point is, you're going to be dealing with local providers. Some are really good. Some are maybe not trained or Western credited quite the same way. And most business travelers or expats want to have some sort of comfort. And this is once again back to the comfort of being able to reach over to us, tell us your situation, and get the support that you need. And certainly gives you the confidence to travel even more, right? I mean, the benefit managers, the family members, yourself, so much of it is the confidence to feel you have the support for your medical needs. And I think after COVID passes, people are going to want a lot more comfort in that area. Maybe one last point is certainly you might move to a foreign location, and a lot of those locations need to have visa letters and to be, to show that you have a healthcare program that covers certain conditions. There's a lot more of that also on helping you with your visas, getting you the type of work visa you may need or residency visa. So it's a complex area, but at the end of the day, to the member, you want to make it as easy as possible because you have so many things on your plate.
And now a word from our co-sponsors. Our programs wouldn't happen without the wonderful support of our advertisers. Here they are.
Something that's really neat is that the Bridge School partners with various organizations to provide learning for their students. For example, we partner with a major ballet company, and we are able to enroll several of their students into our school. So now not only is the student able to participate in a school and have a seamless transition while they're very active in their ballet career, but now they have other dancers that are with them that are doing some of the same courses. So it's almost becoming a camaraderie where they're taking similar courses, they're working together on their ballet, and really being able to form this great partnership with these organizations to provide a needed service. A lot of times there are student athletes who will spend hours and hours at the gym or at the basketball courts, wherever it is. And if they're attending a traditional school, they're in school from 8 to 3. They get a quick snack, and then they're at the gym for 3 to 4 hours in the evening. Coming to us and having that partnership, they're able to break that up throughout the day. They can have a morning practice, get some schooling in, have an afternoon practice, finish their schooling in the evening. So there's that flexibility. And additionally, if there are tournaments or performances, it's fantastic because if there's a week where they have shows straight through, they can take that week off of learning and then pick back up when they're done. So it offers this great flexibility. And for the program owners of these sports leagues, it is a win-win situation for them because they see this need. They see this need that their students need to make sure that they are obtaining the grades necessary to be successful adults in our country and in other countries. But it provides them an environment where they can be successful at both.
This episode from the meeting room of Global TV Talk Show is brought to you by
The Bridge School, the accredited international online private school of choice at bridgek12.org.
Porch Light Rental and Destination Services. Reduce your renter lump sum or managed relocation costs. Visit them at porchlightrental.com.
CubeMonk, featuring the world's first smart cube. Track your goods with our advanced GPS system. Welcome to the future of moving and relocation at cubemonk.com.
Primestone Partners, featuring corporate, government, and developer housing solutions, as well as senior-level advisory services. Find them at primestonepartners.com.
And by heirs.com. With our full range of services, we can help design and manage your international relocation. Find us at heirs.com.
Insured Nomads provides protection and peace of mind with health insurance, travel insurance, group, or tailored insurance for the globally mobile. Visit us at insurednomads.com.
And by International Auto Source. We are the vehicle experts for expats, featuring all major brands of automobiles with flexible solutions and financing. On the web at intlauto.com.
Hi, my name is Christine. I'm a nurse from the Philippines, and I got to know IAS through Worldwide Health Staff Solutions. And I want to thank IAS, especially to Matthew, for helping me get my car stress-free, headache-free. And so I just want to show you the car that I got. So it's a RAV4 XLE 2020.
As an expat moving to the USA, relocating is exciting, but it can also be stressful. Getting a car, truck, or SUV for personal transportation is usually a high priority. That's where International Auto Source comes in. We make getting the vehicle you want for your work assignment or academic program easy, so you're ready to drive when you arrive. Our product specialists have helped over 50,000 expatriates with their personal transportation needs, making us the largest international auto retailer in the world. International Auto Source gives you flexible payment options to buy, lease, or rent a vehicle from the world's leading auto brands, arrange financing on a purchase or lease without a U.S. credit history, social security number, or driving record, get full insurance coverage, and get approved easily through our low-rate factory-backed financing programs. And because we're an authorized distributor of the world's leading automotive brands, our no-haggle prices are competitive, and the buying experience is hassle-free. We'll even guarantee your new vehicle will be ready the day you arrive. With over 20 years of experience in the global community, we are the vehicle experts for expats. We are International Auto Source.
Okay, so I wanted to ask you about money, okay?
Yeah.
And about being gig worker. Okay, so for
Yeah.
instance, here in California, there in the election, it was for some reason put to a vote for the public to vote on being a gig worker. And
Yeah.
the examples were Uber and Lyft, okay?
Yeah.
But also travel agents, and it was California lottery, not lottery, a bill, AB5 it was called.
Yeah.
All right, and so the voters, California voters, voted to allow that to continue, whereas the state was going after the companies to convert the drivers to employees and pay them benefits. And of course, the state gets tax revenue out of all that. So now they can't do that. So gig workers are basically here to stay and probably going to grow now, but probably in some kind of a system that provides for benefits. And maybe what you're doing is right on the cutting edge. You're hanging 10, all right, on that wave. And I congratulate you for that. So let's talk about what you see from an insurance executive's point of view, the gig worker, and what does that mean to you as the provider?
You bet. So in the United States, and great lead in on it, because most people in the United States think of a global gig worker or a gig worker in the US as an Uber driver, et cetera. On the global side, the gig workers that we see tend to actually be very highly compensated people who want to take control of their lives, but they still want to continue working. So to use a great example is, in the past, a large Fortune 500 company would hire petroleum engineers to help find oil, and they would work for a company. They'd go on the company healthcare plan. As there's been a talent shortage in that area, a lot of these engineers want to be a gig worker in the sense that I'll work for you to try to find oil, but I want to be a consultant. I want you to pay me differently. I want to control my time. I want to work on my pace, which means you're not protected under a corporate plan. So you're going to need to buy an exceptional individual plan, and that's what we offer. So we think we support that. And I also think people found great freedom during COVID here that they can do their job from anywhere with fewer people going into the office. So we've had people who, in the past, they'd have to go into their office in New York City and work 9 to 5 Eastern time. Well, guess what? They now can work from anywhere. They can work 9 to 5 Eastern time, but they can be in Croatia at their beach house on Zoom. And they are actually in a better tax area. It's also an area of once again, they can say, listen, I would prefer to have this schedule. So we think a lot of people, once COVID ends and corporations say, come back to the office, they're going to say, I don't want to come back to the office. I don't want to pay the high tax rates of these cities. I've got a great lifestyle here. Why don't you hire me back as a consultant, a global gig worker, and I'll be as efficient for you. And the corporations are saying to us, this is actually a really good deal because we don't necessarily want to take on the benefits.
And without the mask.
Right? And without the mask, exactly. There's a greater freedom there. So we're already seeing this trend as we have people joining our plans that used to work for certain corporations. And they say, we're still doing projects for these corporations, but I'm doing this as a self-employed individual. So I would say the interesting about the global gig worker is going to be much more highly compensated, which much greater needs for global mobility than, obviously the Uber driver that we've talked about. But at the end of the day, they're going to want something that gives them more than just the basics. And most of all, they're going to want something that's self-service and easy for them and their family, and to give them total freedom to go get healthcare wherever they want, help them when they're traveling through airports, give them security if something bad happens when they are. And then you and I know over the last few years, there's been a lot of conversations about the different, we've had SARS and MERS and now COVID. We've had black swan events. We've had duty of care issues. They're going to need programs that support them through all these challenges. And that's what I think our product does. But I don't even think of it as a product. I think of it as more of something that is a comfort. And that's why we keep going back to healthcare, security, and comfort. Because people are going to need to feel comfortable to be traveling again. Anybody who's flown recently realizes the airport experience is quite a bit different than it used to be. But so will be the work experience.
So as you can see behind me, this picture, this is a picture of Venezia, one of the small canals. And this building right over here, I don't know if you can see that, but
Sure, yep.
The white building, this is a 5-star restaurant. And behind there is a garden. You see the trees there. People
Yep.
sit outside there as well. So what if, catastrophically speaking, insurance now, the waters rise, floods the restaurant, I'm in there, and I get sick from all that.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
will this kind of insurance work?
Yeah, it will. It will. In that case, you're in Venice, which is actually a relatively easy destination for us to assist because there's so many business travelers, there's leisure travelers, and while I've focused a bit on business, I mean, people could be traveling for leisure on our plans. They don't have, once again, they don't have to be employed. But to that fact, we would direct you, knowing you probably to an English-speaking, Western trained provider that you would feel comfortable with. And if it was a German expat, we would try to endeavor to get you to a German-speaking or provider you feel comfortable with. We'd also be able to discern whether you should go to a clinic to get diagnosed, or you need to go to the hospital emergency room, et cetera. Because quite often the level of care that you go for is important too. And I'll add one other interesting little twist to this. There's a fair amount of Italians, using your Venice example, that when things open up again, will start coming to the United States. And our products also help travelers to the United States understand our system. So when we talk global, it doesn't necessarily have to be an American traveling out. It could be a German going to Italy, an Italian coming to the United States. We do a lot of work in the automotive space, where you obviously have a lot of Americans going to Korea, Korea coming to the United States, and Germans going to Brazil. So there's each situation, we love to use the term facts and circumstances. What are the facts of your background, where you're at, what you need, and what are the circumstances that you're in at that time to provide you the best answer we possibly can and support you. So hopefully, if you're in Venice and you see the water rising, I've already given you an alert to say, we understand there's a flood on the way. Because that's the other thing that I was going to mention is there is so much travel advice and alerts that we can also make sure that people have. And we're really working to a proactive world on that. So hopefully, Ed, we would have kept you ahead of the flood. But if you got caught in it, we'd certainly do our level best to give you the right direction. And certainly if it floods so much that you have to leave, we would help you be evacuated and move to hopefully Rome or Milan or some other situation that's better for you.
Yeah, the hills of Tuscany will do fine.
I totally concur.
Or even the Dolomites,
All good.
And then, Cortina would be good. So let me ask you a question. I've got the phone here.
Yep.
So the phone works in Venice. So do you have a call service that I could talk with someone?
Yep. We're 24/7. It's funny you hold up the phone, because to me, this is the most powerful instrument we now have. And the power of it obviously is 24/7, be able to reach somebody, being able to hit a panic button. People, if they decide to, I think in the future, we're going to see much more with geo-positioning, as we know that's built into the phones. If somebody's uncomfortable, they can turn the geo-positioning on. You don't want to be Big Brother, so people are allowed to turn it off. But to be able to deliver right to somebody actionable intelligence about what's happening where they are. I've been in situations in cities where there's a lot of civil unrest, and to have a geo-positioning direction that the civil unrest might be in one square or portion of the city, and yet you're having business meetings in a completely different section of the city where there's no concern. Having that actionable information makes a huge difference. And certainly, if you're sick, you want to, you use the geo-positioning, which hospital, clinic is close, which is good, which is the one that you feel comfortable with. And then I love the idea that you can pay using your mobile phone. It's such an amazing travel tool. And I'll mention that you probably remember, the first time you traveled overseas before we had the phones, you really had to have everything figured out beforehand because there was no safety net. And I think that these phones, whether they're Android or Apple, and the tools that we provide is a fantastic safety net, but it's a safety net that you can use at a minute's notice, where in the past, you would have really had to find a phone or a home computer to try to get the information that you need.
So,
Such-
Alan, this has been a really good conversation and instrumental. Our time is coming to an end here. And the next show, we're going to go a little bit deeper into the industry, and we look forward to having you back. So how can people get in touch with you? I see your email is alan@insurednomads.com. So the website is what? insurednomads.com, right?
Correct. You just Google it up, see some of the great reviews we get. And if you hit the website, you can actually pre-price your own plans and look at different options. So we invite you to join us.
So what if I have a favorite relative who's an insurance agent? How does that work?
Oh, great. You can refer them to us. We'll have a conversation, kind of educate them on the product, learn about the needs, whether they do student groups or they're doing, just travelers or folks that are going for tourist or sporting company. But once again, we would have a direct conversation, and we could even work with them on perhaps even getting a direct link to the program, so they could have people come through their own website to ours, so they could track their activity. So it's a fantastic question, Ed. The more partners, more associations that we have together, the more people we can protect.
So this is like travel insurance, right?
Yeah. It could be travel insurance for business or pleasure. Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ed.
All
Cheers.
right. So Alan Koski, insurednomads.com. Sounds very cool. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you for joining us in the meeting room at Global TV Talk Show.
Have a wonderful day, and stay safe.